All right, guys, it's Steve here again, and this time I'm back in the States. I was in Colombia this past weekend, Bogota actually, and I posted a video a few days ago about some observations I made about Colombia. So I thought I would do a part two because as I thought about it more, there were some things that I wanted to share that I didn't share in the first video, but since I had already published it, I decided just to do a numero dos. And so, yeah, so let's get into it. So, the things I learned about Colombia in my last video, I talked a lot about hospitality because their level of hospitality is just through the roof. It was absolutely amazing. So, today I want to talk about four observations I've made outside of just hospitality that I just think it's important to know because one thing I've learned is when you get out and you actually get to meet people, especially when places have a bad reputation, which let's face it, Colombia, as I spoke with my host, can have a bad rap here in the States. And if you know what that bad reputation is, then I don't really need to get into it. Although I kind of will. Anyways, so the first thing I had discussed with my host is, they had asked me, what are some things that I thought about Colombia before I could some preconceived ideas and things that were proven generally false when I got there. So the first one was that there's going to be a lot of poverty everywhere. So in reality, I didn't see, yes, I saw some poverty. I saw some homelessness. I saw people begging. I saw people being creative panhandlers on the street, playing music, all kinds of things that were actually quite interesting to watch. But I was assuming there would be a lot more poverty. And in fact, there wasn't. I was surprised that there wasn't more than I saw. And one of the things I did notice about Colombia, Bogota in particular, and the area I was at, there was a lot of shopping malls, tons of shopping malls, just everywhere. And that's one of the things my Colombian host pointed out. And these malls are nice. In fact, where I live, our shopping mall, it's terrible. But they have really nice, some kind of basic we went into, even these basic ones had really nice shops in them, and some of them were like super fancy. And so, shopping malls area, and inside the shopping malls, they were crowded, there were restaurants, there were lines to get into the restaurants. The food courts were packed full of people. There were people shopping in the stores, spending money, enjoying time with family and friends. And so I was really pleasantly surprised to see that the level of poverty was much less than I imagined. I did ask them about it, and I asked them specifically about the economy, and they said, the good thing, especially in the last 10 years, the economy is actually improving. It's gone up. It's going up. Things are stronger now, and more people are spending money and enjoying life that way. So anyway, lot less poverty than I realized. The second preconceived idea was, and let's face it, this is one of those things that everybody thinks of when they think of Colombia, is that there are drugs everywhere. Well, the reality is there isn't. Okay, sure. Even the locals say there's issues in that realm. And, there are people who make the stuff, all that kind of stuff. They don't discount that reality. They don't hide or ignore that reality. But the other reality is most of the people are not involved in that. Most of them are not taking it. It's not something you could just, at least not anywhere I went, that it was just easily accessible. Okay. It's just for reasons, legitimate reasons in the past. Everyone kind of has that picture of Colombia, but I can say this, I didn't see one drug pusher, and I didn't see one person trying to take them. So, whatever your thoughts on that are, and I know this is only my first trip, but it was an observation, and it was something I spoke about with my host. So these are not things I've just come out of thin air on my own as an Americana or a gringo and didn't discuss with him. I actually discussed it with my Colombian host. The third thing, actually I didn't discuss this, but some people think because it's so close to the equator that it's just going to be hot, sticky, humid everywhere you go. Now, I haven't been to the coast in Medellin. I have not been to other parts of Colombia. I've only been to Bogota and in a small town outside of Bogota. And let me tell you, it was anything but hot. Now, the humidity is high, but I didn't really notice it that much. Okay, I saw the clouds, I saw the fog, I saw all these things, and considering we were 8,600 feet above sea level, I thought the air would be drier, but it wasn't because of all the humidity. I think it was in the 80 percentile. However, and there was a lot of rain, at least when I went. With that said, it was not hot. Uh, the home or the place I stayed at didn't have air conditioning. My hotel had air conditioning near the airport, but I also learned most of the hotels, even near the airport, don't have air conditioning. It's just running air through the vents. So it's not hot, and it was quite pleasant the whole time I was in Bogota. And my hosts are saying that the temperature I was experiencing, minus the rain, was the norm for the entire year. So the weather in Bogota seems to be a very beautiful, comfortable place to be if you like kind of a moderate temperature. Not too hot, not too cold. It's just kind of that sweet spot in the middle. The fourth thing I want to discuss is one that people really talk about, and I had to go with the second one when I was talking about, the misconception of that drugs are everywhere, which is not true. The fourth perception, again, is misconceptions, but it has some validity based on history, okay? But we want to bring it up to 2024 and the reality today, okay? We don't want to just look at something and say, well, that's the way it's been, so it must be the way it's always going to be. And that is, it's dangerous. Okay, my host said that there are dangerous spots. There are places they don't want to go to. There are places I shouldn't go to. Definitely, as a gringo, I shouldn't go to. And so, yes, but that's like any big city you go to. And granted, some of their danger is not necessarily in a big city. Maybe it's in a rural area because of, certain people in the country. But the reality is, Bogota and other places are no different than, let's say, New York, Chicago, LA, Dallas, or any of those other places that have bad spots in them. And even in Bogota, before I went to Bogota, I reached out to a friend who had, I found out he actually lived there for over 10 years, and he gave me a list of things to be observant of. In fact, but in his list of observations or things, recommendations, is the encouragement to go. Don't be afraid. Just go and enjoy it. The people are great. The food's great. The environment's great. And he was 100% correct. Okay? There are bad spots even in Bogota. There's bad spots in other cities. And Medellin was considered a very dangerous place at one time, but is now a place where many foreigners live. And they just come in and decide they just want to live there because it's by the coast, and I hear it's very beautiful. So things have changed a lot from what I'm hearing, and the danger is really no different than any other place. We did go to a tourist area, and they warned me about a few things. Mostly had to do with thievery and pickpocketing and stuff like that. But we went, and we took our precautions, and we were fine. I, in fact, never saw anyone try to take anything, never experienced it. We were observant, and we just kept ourselves alert the whole time. So I bring these four things up just to encourage you. If you're interested in going to Colombia, do your homework first, okay? Don't go blindly, but don't go with any level of fear, because as most foreigners experience, they're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Everything was great with me. Granted, I had hosts just taking care of me just incredibly well. But, the first night I was by myself, had to get myself to the hotel, no big deal. But I did my research ahead of time, and I knew what I was getting myself into, and I knew what I was looking for. And I didn't have any fears at the airport. I didn't have any fears getting to the hotel. I do know that at times people talk about kidnappings, but the reality is, even based on everything I read, based on everything I heard, the vast majority of anything like that happening is going to be in those danger zones. Not where I was at, not where the Bogota airport is at. Obviously, I can't speak to it being 100% safe, but neither is going to Dallas, Texas. Okay? Dallas, Texas, there can be problems. But you just do your homework and you prepare. So anyways, I hope if you're interested that you would consider giving Colombia a try. The people are incredible. The food is tasty. And wow, it is a beautiful, beautiful country. Anyways, until next time, I'll see you later.